Brodes Media.
That's a good win down at CBP, especially considering what the weather was like. Imagine being an outfielder, and you look up at the sky, and here's a white ball flying in your direction. You go left, you go right. You take a few steps in. This thing is dragging you every which way. Before you know it, it's 8 feet behind your head. You reach back, and it finds your webbing. In what world? In what world? So when it's that chaotic, you got one job. Put the ball in play. Make the other team have to make difficult catches. And the most routine fly balls or the most routine pop-ups could happen to be extremely difficult. Do what you gotta do. Especially with the way that you've been playing. Get off the schneid and let's feel good about ourselves. And, you know, it starts with the lineup. Really, when it comes to discussion, with Brandon Marsh getting thrown right back into the fire right after Rob Thompson said he was going to take a couple of days off. Now, how do I feel about this decision? Let's walk through it a little bit. Because side A is, didn't you have a plan, Rob? Didn't the Phillies come together and realize that Brandon Marsh is in such a bad mental headspace that he should chill out, and Rojas could just get a couple days of run? So in what world are you already flipping the script? Doesn't that show you're desperate? Doesn't that show you're panicking? But then here's side B. You are desperate! Johan Rojas stinks! He couldn't have done what Brandon Marsh did today. And by the way, truth be told, Brandon Marsh didn't really do anything other than, hey, it was a nice sac fly, and you got to manufacture runs, and boom, can move a guy over, and then you get him home, and yada, yada, yada. I know, small ball, woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. I'm not loving it as much as I did in the early stages because I don't think it's sustainable. If that's what this season's all about, and that's what this year has been about, is playing a different style than last year, and this is what it looks like, we need to have some serious talks on where we go. So I'm starting to get out on the small ball. But Marsh did drive the baseball, let's get back on track here, to the outfield. And you were able to move runners and get a run. And in a 2-run game, that's incredible. So you are desperate. You are panicking. Guys, the center field position's hitting less than 100 together. So if Rojas is worse, and I want my manager to show urgency that these wins are important and we got to get to the best version of ourselves, then I don't care what you said about 3 days off and 3 games off and go relax for a little bit to get yourself right. I don't care that you said that because Rojas is a disgrace at the plate. And Brandon Marsh gives you a better chance to get a dub. That's the truth. No matter what Rob says, obviously he's not going to crush Johan publicly to the media when he gets asked questions. He's going to tell you, I liked what Brandon Marsh did at BP. I liked the work that he's put together over the last 24 hours with Kevin Long, what he was doing in the cage, how he was preparing. Of course he's going to say that, and that's the right thing to say. Let me tell you for free what's really going on. They're watching those feeble ABs by Rojas, and they're saying, wow, those are even worse than when Brandon Marsh has feeble groundouts. Because maybe you could luck into something from Marsh, and even the best version of Marsh is still better than this. It's the same thing with Bohm. We watched him have an RBI, and over the last couple of games, there's been better ABs. Because he's not a 115 hitter, a 140 hitter, a 138 hitter. He's better than that. Same with Marsh, even though I don't think Marsh is great or an everyday player, unfortunately. He's not a 100 hitter either. So that was the lineup discussion. I'm cool with it. I'm okay with it, even though I acknowledge it is a massive, quick, knee-jerk reaction to the poor play by Rojas It's the right call. Maybe Rob should reevaluate exactly what he's going to say timeline-wise now publicly so he doesn't get himself in that type of pickle again. But that was less about the decision-making on who played, and it was more about maybe having to backtrack from what you stated on how many days off you were going to give. Just don't give days off timeline anymore, and you'll never find yourself in that predicament. We'll just say, hey, Rojas isn't playing today, and it's Marsh today. All right. There was something else pregame. Oh, this ticked me off from Rob. I promise there's some good stuff to get into, though. It's not just me feeling down and sour about this group, but Rob Thompson addressed the media pregame and said that the call from JT Realmuto's strikeout in game one wasn't egregious. And that's why he didn't feel it was necessary to get in the face of anybody or to kick dirt or to scream or to get angry because it wasn't egregious. That's kind of disrespectful to JT in a way, no? Because now you're acting as if what JT did by reacting as heavily as he did, which he doesn't normally and typically do, then that means that was uncalled for. That means that was very immature and not worthy of that type of reaction. But it was. If that's not egregious, yo, Rob, I don't know what is. So when will you lose your cool? I actually thought, believe it or not, in this game, Alvarado got boned and so did Luzardo on that check swing. And I was listening to the TV broadcast and I heard Tom McCarthy say, here comes Rob. But he was actually going to take Luzardo out of the game. For literally half a second, I wondered, oh my God, is he going out to scream? Like he wouldn't scream yesterday because that wasn't, quote, egregious, yet he's going to get in the face for a check swing call right now? Then I realized he was just going to his pen. And I thought, oh yeah, come on, man. You're a fucking idiot, bro. I mean, come on, how stupid can you be? Use your brain. Sorry. Let me dream a little. Because there's nothing I would love to break down that. If that transpired today. But that Jose Alvarado non-strike call, too, was so pathetic. What's wrong with these people who get paid to be umpires? They suck. And that ended up really screwing us over because here's San Francisco in the eighth getting some life and a ton of base runners. Alvarado had to work through that. And he did, although it was close. I know you're lying if you tell me you thought 1,000% Brandon Marsh was just going to stop in the warning track in the eighth. I like how Rob played the later half, though. When you go Jose Alvarado in the eighth against the top of their order, you got to find those pockets. And if Matt Strahm has to face 7, 8, 9, 8-hole hitters in the ninth inning in a 2-run game, I'm on board. Speaking of bullpen, my guy Romano. It's funny. You know I've been definitely a little blah on this team to this point. My one positive take has been, don't count out Romano. Here he is again. It's a lot different when he throws 96, 97, huh? It's a lot different when he's able to throw 9 pitches, 10 pitches, face the minimum amount of batters in his last 3 appearances. You can't just tell me the guy can't do anything because he had a major injury, no real baseball yet. Let him get some real baseball. Now I'm starting to say, hey, we might have a right-handed pitcher. We might have a right-handed reliever. Kirkering came in and he did okay after Luzardo left the game, but the wild pitch and the ball that went all the way to the backstop, that was painful. That's a self-inflicted wound. You got to clean those details up. He limited damage without a doubt. It wasn't egregious, although I don't know how to use that word anymore now that Rob Thompson has my brain all out of whack. You know what I mean? There was a time when I watched Luzardo, though, and I thought, wow, momentum changer in that 5th inning. Trey had awesome defense where he made the over-the-catch shoulder vibe, and then he had a 9-pitch 5th And I'm going, yeah, baby. Like, that matters. To go out there, it be so quick, and then you get right back into the dugout, forcing your offense. Now, ended up not meaning anything, but that was one of the smaller intricacies moment that actually got me going, where I felt something through my body. Go, yeah, baby. How about that fifth inning? Just to put it in perspective a little bit on how my body goes through a 9-inning baseball game in the middle of April. Somehow, some way that can actually get me horny. Somehow, some way that could actually rise the blood flow.